to another Rick's Rant. And been a while. I have been very, very busy. Good busy, I think getting a lot done. Caught up on my writing for a little while on the things I have to do periodically. So now I get to finish some of the books I've had pending. Also, I had a week in which I had 3 of the most profound visitations, revelations, whatever I've had in many years. And in some cases, maybe ever. I mean, they were overwhelming. There was so much. But I've learned a little bit when you feel overwhelmed with a revelation, like it's too much to process, too much to figure out. The Lord can do that for you. He can help you. You know, He sends His Spirit to quicken our mortal minds and bodies. And so over time, I'm sure I will get it, but these were powerful, deep, more than I could comprehend. But I'm starting to feel a sense that this is for our time, and it was good. To me, it was about, it was about the poor condition the body of Christ was in. One of them, the extremely poor condition, but also watch what God does. It was when Israel was in its poorest spiritual condition that the greatest revivals, greatest moves of God of all in that country took place. And that's the way I look at this. Yes, we're in a low state, generally in the body of Christ today. There are some bright spots, really wonderful things happening. But overall, we have the amazing thing that took place with the tragedy of, Charlie Kirk being assassinated. And, one of the really bright spots is Turning Point USA, the incredible spark that it has been. And I think it could have been, I'm not saying it is or was, but it could end up being the spark that sets off the last day harvest, the last day move of God, and the great ingathering. So pray for, get involved with anything you can do to help Turning Point USA, I think, is really going to bear fruit in these times. And, but, we need the spark. We need revival. Revival means to revive, to bring back to life. And I think the body of Christ is at that point. We need revival, not just another movement, we need to be revived. We need that spark. Revivals come in infinitely different forms. I think every one that has ever happened in history was different from every previous one in some basic ways. May have had some commonalities too to other previous revivals, but they tend to be unique. That's the nature of God. He makes every snowflake different, every one of us different. And if He had His way, every one of His churches would be really unique and different. We wouldn't have these cookie cutter congregations like we tend to have today. But those are going to go away in due time. And I don't think that time's too far off. And they have served a purpose in these times. In many cases, some of these that are now just cookie cutter congregations, almost every one of them the same. They've still maintained and defended certain basic truths were still used to lead people to the Lord and many other great things, but they do not represent God. He is diverse. He's unique. He is creative, so creative. He makes us all different and unique. And when we look at, these organizations, these institutions that are, there's such a pressure to conform in them, and they do all conform. They all look alike. I knew those for a long time in one denomination because all the leaders dressed alike. There was another one where all the leaders, right down to the pastors of the local churches, all drove the same type of car. That is true. If you were in that denomination or knew about it, it happened. And I think they've broken out of that now. But, there are things where we tend to conform after each other, after other people, other Christians, more than we do Christ, more than we do our Creator. And that's going to change in a really powerful, great way. And it's going to be a good thing. But let's give honor to whom honor is due. Every move of God in the past, even if it calcified, even if it was a movement that stopped moving, just holding the ground that they did, preserving certain truths and, ways of God that that contributed something. But get ready for the truly remarkable moves of God to come in the future, many of them. And all at the same time, all complementing each other, not conflicting. And what's that going to look like? It's going to look very different than usual, I can tell you that. And with unity, one can put 1,000 to flight and 10,000. So every way that we can unite with others of God's household, others of his people, it multiplies our authority. He does that when he said, if even two of you would agree, whatever we asked, he would do. Now, that word agree means a whole lot more than just holding hands and let's think the same way about this issue that we're going to pray about. No, that word agree is the word we derive our English word symphony from. It's like to take that many diverse instruments and sections and an orchestra and get them to combine in harmony. It is otherworldly music. It is out of this world. It's because you don't usually find that kind of unity. You can with a trio or duet, 2 or 3, it's kind of easier to combine with. And, some bands have been 4 or 5, whatever, and they agree, well, they didn't tend to stick together for long, though. I'm just saying. So what a miracle it is. What a miracle unity is when we can unite and be for one another, not against one another. So anyway, I just wanted to mention I'm back. I'm back in Moravian Falls. I just spent 10 or 12 days in Fort Mill. I loved every bit of it. It was a tremendous time just getting with the team there and seeing what the church in Fort Mill, the congregation there at Heritage USA, every single time I'm there, I leave encouraged at who I see. The group that has, both stayed together through some really turbulent times that we went through. That's when you've got the best left. And we dug up a word from the Lord. Our head, Micah, the head of our partners department, found this word from the Lord from Bob Jones, who gave it in 2012. It was like it could not have been more perfect for now. and talked about the ones that you have left after you go through this shaking or whatever, they're going to be the best, and they're the ones you can really build upon. And there's something there that is so solid, so intensely sincere. Every Sunday morning when I look out there at the focused, sincere people, I know we've got something special happening there. And it's growing back. Many others are coming. Really outstanding people. I've met such incredible people that have moved there recently. And the ones who come to a place that's being embattled, they're the ones you want. They're the long-term ones you can count on. Many of them came and planned to come to us when we were in the midst of great controversy and conflict. And that's when they rose up, and that's when they made their commitment. One time I asked the Lord who had the greatest faith in the New Testament, not expecting him to answer me, because there were so many people that demonstrated such great faith. Stephen, all the apostles, virtually all the disciples that hung in there. But the Lord did answer me. He answered me right away. He says, Joseph of Arimathea. And I thought about it. Joseph, he made his commitment when the Lord had been killed, when he had died, when it looked like this thing's over. It was great for the little while that we had him among us, but it's over. He was crucified, he's dead. And Joseph went to the Roman official there, Pilate, and said, can I have the body? Give me the body. I'm going to bury him with honor. He made his commitment to the Lord when the Lord was dead. And it looked like we're not going to see him again. This is over. What an incredible faith that took. And he was one of the wealthy in Israel, one of the great ones in the country that was respected throughout Israel. And he identified with Jesus, gave Jesus his own grave after he'd been killed. Now, maybe he understood the revelation when the Lord taught, his disciples, he had to be crucified and all this. It seemed like they didn't even hear him. Certainly didn't believe him, But when it happened, they were just dumbfounded. Even the Lord told them clearly, it's coming. You're going to be scattered. But Joseph went and asked for the body. He wanted to honor the Lord any way he could, even though it looked like he did. It's basically, he was saying, even if this is defeated in the earth, it's the best thing that ever happened. And I want to make my commitment to it now. And, but anyway, that's why we've been so blessed to see the people that are coming. And we've got many who left for a while. And I would never hold that against them, when things are happening, look bad. But, I'm thankful for all the ones who are coming back, too. Something woke them back up and said, this is where we want to be, and they're coming back pretty strong. Thankful for those. But it's those who are making their commitment during what looked like a really tough time. What was a really tough time? Probably the toughest we've ever been through as a ministry. Many made their commitment then. They may not have been able to get with us then, but they started making every arrangement to leave where they were, pack up, and come. And now they're there. So all I can say is there's something really exciting happening at Heritage again. And I believe in a very short time, it's going to be stronger than it ever was. And many of the things that enabled us for a long period of time to touch virtually every country on earth, it's going to happen again, only bigger and deeper. And just for a side point, I know, and I want to thank all of you who've been praying for my health. Like you've heard me testify, when I had the stroke, it was my fault. I gave myself that stroke. Believe it or not, I quit taking a blood pressure medicine that I felt like was making me feel bad, and I just didn't think I needed it, and I probably didn't. My blood pressure was fine. It had come way down, and was never that high, but it had come way down to normal range. And I just said, I'm going to quit taking this in cold turkey, the blood pressure medicine. I didn't read the side effects for doing that. You know, there's side effects posted on what can be side effects for any medicine or whatever. And you know what the side effect was for just stopping taking the medicine once you're on it? If you just cold turkey and quit all at once? It's a stroke. Guess what I did? And that's why, the doctors and everything, they couldn't find any reason why I should have had that stroke. Couldn't find anything that caused it. I found it when I read the label of that medicine. And, but I think it was the Lord at the same time. He slowed me down so I could hear him far more than I had been hearing him. I could recognize him in people and things he wanted to do. Boy, it was a radical change of life and a good one. And I am so thankful for that time. But I've had some symptoms or effects of the stroke that have continued with me. A perpetual dizziness makes me walk like a drunken sailor sometime, where I'm really dizzy. It's almost like trying to get my sea legs when you first get at sea. And so, there have been times when I have almost fallen every single day for weeks. But I would always be near a piece of furniture, something I could grab hold of and would keep me up. But it was a pretty serious dizziness that was with me continually. Still is. Finally, over the last month or two, it started lessening. And, but anyway, I went to the doctor today for a pretty thorough physical, all the blood tests, everything, and came out, I think I would grade it an A, maybe an A+. Everything was great. I had dropped my A1C 2 full points since my last physical. And, it wasn't that high then, but they said you could bring this down some. Well, I dropped it 2 full points. And it's in great range now. My blood pressure, just about everything is, they said it was either really good or normal. And so I got a real good, clean bill of health today. And I feel healthier than I have in years. And I feel healthier spiritually, continually. I feel like I am constantly able to get closer to the Lord. And he is speaking to me more and more profoundly in awesome ways. I've had 2 powerful dreams in the last few weeks and 3 what I would call visitation encounters. There were, all 5 of those were quite remarkable, and I think gave me such incredible hope for the future. I just have zeal now. I haven't felt this kind of energy and zeal for a long, long time. And it's just a good sense. And so I want to thank you, because I know many of you really have been praying for me. And the Lord has answered your prayers, and we're ready to go. But a big wave is coming. Revival is coming, another great awakening. And from these encounters, revelations I had over the last couple of weeks, zero doubt. And so let's encourage one another, provoke each other to love and good deeds. One way we can provoke others is us get so close to the Lord that they get jealous. For us to make such advances in our faith and in our understanding and our time with Him and the effectiveness of our prayers, where we can, record the answers to Him, and to provoke others that we got to get going. There's nothing we can do on this earth today or any other day greater than us getting closer to the Lord. And that includes anything you can do in politics or government or anything. More important than that is getting closer to the Lord. Our number one job description as human beings is to love God above all things and to serve Him, do His will, obey Him, follow Him, and if we're following Him, to get ever closer to Him. So anyway, I just wanted to share those things with you, since I hadn't done a rant in a while and they were just kind of burning on me. I'm so glad to be back in Moravian Falls. I'm looking out my window here at those incredible mountains across the valley, and which I can see through my door. I don't know if you can or not, but I'll try to show you. And right at that door, there are awesome mountains across that valley. But anyway, let's make this the best day of our life and make each one after it even better. How does that sound? Thank you for joining me for today's rant. There's something of a coming of the presence of the Lord, the manifest presence of the Lord, that is going to precede His coming. That is going to precede His coming. I tell you, He's going to come to His temple. He's going to come in His temple before He comes to it. There's going to be something of His manifest presence in His people. Open our eyes to see You, know You, follow You, and to be used by You. And anoint us to preach the whole message of this life.